control, but you can, easy on the grasses, so it leaves your stuff on the ground intact, but it'll kill all your woody stuff and your invasives and your broadleaves and all that, but not mess with the grass. You ain't gonna get much problem in your waterways. That's it, that's your takeaways.
I hit 15 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, like it was like,
1654. All right, Woody, you ready?
yeah.
All right.
Hello, my name is Dylan Woody, and I had Garlon 3A. Garlon 3A is a specialty herbicide it's used for the control of woody plants, broadleaf weeds, and range and pasture, forest, and non-crop areas, including manufacturing and storage sites, rights of way such as electrical power lines, communication lines, pipelines, roadsides, railroads, and a bunch of that stuff. But my active ingredient is the same as Alistair had in Garlon Forest, triclopyr. And he had about 60% of his was made up of that. Mine's lower, it's down to about 44%. Well, actually, the acid equivalent is 31.8% per 3 gallons of triclopyr. And triclopyr is an organic compound that is used as a systematic foliar herbicide and fungicide. Triclopyr is used to control broadleaf weeds while having grasses and conifers. So mine doesn't control grass either, I guess.
That's what we said.
That's what we're talking about? All right.
Yeah, that's why it's good we're doing it right now.
Triclopyr is effective on woody plants and is
While
used,
leaving grasses and conifers
Yeah.
lawn. Read what you got.
Yeah.
There you go.
Triclopyr is effective on woody plants and is used for brush control in rights of ways and defoliation of wooded areas. Pesticides are used to protect, help, and enhance forests worldwide. They are sometimes the only option to deal with problems. Weeds that are allowed to grow and are not controlled annually will have a bad effect on the stand and can cause suppression and mortality. My signal word was danger, unlike Alistair's was caution. And it's danger because it's corrosive and it can cause irreversible eye damage. And it's harmful if it's swallowed or absorbed through the skin. And some of the PPEs that applicators and other handlers must wear is long sleeve shirts and long pants, shoes and socks, chemical resistant gloves, and protective eyewear. You want to wear the eyewear. Some of the plants it controls woody plants and broadleaf weeds. And it controls a lot of woody plants, and here's a couple of them that I wrote down that are common, such as ash and beech, black gum, Douglas fir, dogwood. And some of the broadleaf weeds is dandelion, ragweed, smartweed, wild lettuce, field bindweed, and Canada thistle. Some of those. The environmental hazards. Well, it's actually supposed to, you can spray it on ponds and water, but they don't want you, even though you can do that whenever you're washing your containers, they don't want you to let it run off in the water if you're not intended to put it there. So they say don't contaminate any water when you're cleaning or disposing of your equipment wash waters. And it also, if it gets into places you don't want it to be, it can kill the plants that give the water oxygen, which suffocates the fish. It actually doesn't do any harm to the fish or anything. It goes through them, but it can kill them by taking away the oxygen. Do not treat more than 1/3 to 1/2 of the water area in a single operation, and they want you to wait at least about 2 weeks in between treatments. And they want you to start treating it along the shore and work your way in towards the water, so that way the fish can move to the untreated areas. And you also, some places you have to have a permit to treat, so you consult the state to see if you have to have a permit or not. And the use of this chemical in areas where soils are permeable, particularly where the water table is shallow, it can contaminate the groundwater. Interview, I talked to a couple people and I couldn't really find anybody that sprayed it, but I did talk to John Smith, and he graduated here last year and he does a lot of spraying. And he hasn't actually sprayed it, but he sprays a lot of Garlon 4, but he knew a little bit about 3A, and he said he actually planned to spray it on the pond this year. They were planning on doing it already, just because they knew it's good for the aquatic weeds and the stuff they can spray in the water sensitive areas. General use, Garlon has many uses. It's used a lot on right of ways and controls trees, brush, and weeds along these right of ways that create hazards. For driver and passenger safety, vegetation must not be allowed to block traffic signs or roadside markers, so they use a lot to keep trees out of the road. It also must not conceal guardrails or overtake road shoulders, and vegetation must not obstruct driver vision at intersections or block the line of sight around curves. Excessive vegetation also prevents proper drainage, which can damage road beds by creating potholes and other hazards. Some of the areas that we treat with it is power lines, roadways, railroads, timber stands, and places where invasive species dominate, which is a lot of times in the wet areas. 2 ways you can treat it. Other ways you can do it is a modified cut stump and cut stump. Modified cut stump applications involve cutting 6 inches above the ground level and treating both the bark and exposed cambium. Cut stump applications involve cutting the tree close to the ground and treating only the exposed cambium in a continuous ring around the tree stump. A higher application rate is necessary for cut stump treatments compared to modified cut stump treatment because less surface area is being treated. There's 2 ways you can broadcast it. You can do it by the air, which is done with planes and helicopters, and they must follow a flight pattern to ensure effective use. And I have a little video of a helicopter spraying some out. And ground application, this can be done with a boom with multiple nozzles, and it can use skidders, and they also ground crews are common with backpack sprayers. I got a little video of a piece of equipment spraying some.
However,
I won't play the whole video. I just want
accuracy.
to
However,
show you all the piece of
action
equipment.
should be carried out in a typical field where spraying will be done, and not on the lawn or around farm buildings. In order to get an accurate measure of the actual travel speed,
Here's a picture of using backpack application there, spraying here and spraying the sides of the road and the power lines here. And this is what they want the power line rights of ways to look like afterwards. Wetland sites, Garlon 3A may be used within production forest and industrial non-crop sites to control target vegetation in and around standing water sites such as marshes, wetlands, and the banks of ponds and lakes, and transition areas between upland and lowland sites. Garlon 3 versus Garlon 4. Both Garlon 3A and Garlon 4 are formulations of the active ingredient triclopyr. Garlon 4 is a 4-pound acid equivalent per gallon low volatile ester in a plant-based oil carrier, whereas Garlon 3 is a 3-pound water-soluble amine in water. The price, it's not as much as some of y'all's were, but on forestry suppliers you can purchase a 2.5 gallon jug for $171, and they did show on the website that whenever you purchase in larger quantities, the prices do drop a little bit. Garlon 3 is used in forest and industrial non-crop areas, including wetland sites and seasonal irrigation waterways and is used in chemical mowing on non-cropland sites, and it controls woody plants and broadleaf weeds. And here's where I got most of my information from. And that's what I used Prezi to make this presentation.
I have a question with it.
Alright, let's hear it.
It said it controlled, like dandelions and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Does it say anything? I wonder if can you spray that in your yard and not kill? I know it said it won't kill grasses. Are there certain grasses it will kill? Do you know?
No, it's supposed to leave all like grasses unaffected as far as I know.
Do you know anything about it, Russell?
Well, dandelion's a weed, I don't know if it's a broadleaf weed or a grass, if it's a weed, it probably might kill it.
Dandelions are broadleaf.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably would, I mean, it's really if left grown, it's more like a broadleaf weed than a grass. Dandelion don't have the petal that comes out on it,
Yeah.
the stem comes up, that's more of a broadleaf weed, so it'd probably kill it.
So it's probably kill clover then too. So you just,
That's what my thing was. If you could spray your grass with it,
right, your lawn.
Your
It's a
lawn.
weed killer.
yeah.
I don't know about the clover and stuff, I mean,
Like, what does this not kill? It doesn't kill fescue?
yeah, grasses,
Right.
fescue,
Grasses.
Bermuda,
Okay.
crabgrass, all that kind of stuff, you gotta go with something else for that.
I think Mom was saying it's a good spray for like rangeland,
Right.
and grazing,
Yeah.
because it's not toxic, but, I mean, I don't wanna take his.
No, I mean, I read that, the animals out in the fields can eat it right after it's been sprayed,
Yeah.
and then it'll go pass right through them, it doesn't affect them at all.
So did you see at the end, yours still, yeah, his is water based, yours is that, even though his is lower, isn't that weird? He's got a danger signal word.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised that his didn't have danger.
Yeah, it's a danger signal word, and you think it'd be lowered, it ain't necessarily that, it's whatever's in that chemical to make it work, do its special things, or it may not be the active ingredient. It may be something that's in there, you just don't know, you know, I think it's for eye irritation, most of the danger ones
Yeah.
are for eye irritation.
Let's say yoga.
But anyway, this is industrial waterways as well, okay? And, so that's just like Alistair's. This is more in line with the wet areas than yours is, okay?
Yeah.
Even though both of them can be, this is more really made for that.
So you
Because
can just-
because you're doing a double dose, if you put any type of oil into a waterway, then that's a negative thing. So if you're gonna have some little bit of chemical leach in there along with some oil, then it's bad, whereas his is water, it's already ready to break down as soon as it touches water. So that's why you would go with the Garlon 3 versus the Garlon 4 if you're doing a bunch of spraying around a pond. And you still gotta be careful.
So it's the same thing, only this one can be sprayed in the yard.
They both can be sprayed around water's edges, but this one here is safer.
Okay.
This is a safer
So
one
is
to do
this
it.
one more expensive?
I couldn't answer that.
It was 170, how much was yours, Alistair?
I don't, it was close to that, I don't remember off the top of my
Yeah.
head.
Even though he's got less amount, it's got, you know, because his has got the oil in it, and his doesn't have the water in it, it's a lesser amount, you'd think his would be more expensive, but I don't know. Maybe they made them both equal or whatever, I'm not sure. They definitely, if they're still making them, still selling both of them, there's a reason there's somebody that wants one over another one. They both control broadleaf weeds and woody vegetation. They both can be used around wet areas, but this is safer. And let me add to it, when you drop down from that 60 to the 40, this is better if you wanna go in there and release your pines, doing a directed spray with a bunch of thick hardwoods around your pine trees now up like this high. You've waited a little bit late, it's 4 or 5 years old,
Yeah,
and you wanna go in there and direct spray on leaves on your hardwoods, this is the one you wanna use.
you wanna be careful,
But it has pine listed as one of the woody plants that it kills.
yeah.
Yeah, but if you like you said on the thing there, when it leaves grasses and pines, if you put directly, if you spray, I'm talking about directed spray on the hardwoods. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can kill the pines if you wanna soak the pine with it.
It's
Yeah,
on the
it was
list.
on the list, pine, that kills pine.
And then your thing where it said it leaves the grasses alone, it also said in pines. Go back to that one. When you were asking me, when you said, well, you said something about mine kills grasses too. Won't kill grasses too. They were grasses and conifers unaffected. But that's directed, that's saying, that's because they're assuming, if you read the label, it says you direct it straight to the leaves of whatever it is you're trying to kill, you don't get any of it on the conifer. If you get it on the conifer, then you're gonna kill it. But you know why this is better for the pines than the other one?
Wow.
I've been talking about this the whole day in here. And I just got through talking about the difference in these two. What did I say with arsenal? You don't put in arsenal when you spray over top of pines. Yeah, you don't want any oil, any surfactant, anything doing any sticking. His is water-based, yours is oil. The oil's gonna make it stick and burn it. The water's less likely to burn it if you get a little mist off to the side when you're spraying the hardwood. Now y'all seen the little in the secrets, is the little different tiny things, the difference in these chemicals. I mean, these companies are billion-dollar companies, man. They got damn mad scientists sitting in cubicles testing this shit and making it do what it's supposed to do. I mean, it's a damn science to it. They spend millions and millions of dollars researching this stuff. Multiple application methods, okay, that's a benefit. Multiple application benefits. And that's it. All righty, y'all, these are good. So who we got left? We got to get